Do you remember Mac McClung? Chances are that you haven't heard that name for quite some time, but somewhere in the back of your head, that name is definitely ringing some sort of familiar bells. That's because in 2017, his high school mixtapes were getting as many as 2.5 million views on YouTube. And now, after 4 years out of the spotlight, at least for the most part, the white boy with a 47-inch vertical has agreed to a training camp deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. McClung has been out there balling for the Lakers Summer League team, and it looks like he might just be joining LeBron, Anthony Davis, Westbrook, and Melo on what would definitely be one of the most, at least, interesting teams in NBA history. I genuinely have no idea how to predict the future of this team. The Lakers went absolutely all out in this year's free agency, and right now it is really looking like Mac McClung might be the next seemingly random player to join the roster. Remember to subscribe for future videos. Of course, click that bell because I guess nowadays subscriptions are just useless. Thanks, YouTube. And with that, let's jump straight into this story. Matthew McClung was born in the small town of Gate City, Virginia. Life was not easy for little Mac. As you can see, his family lived in an extremely tiny house, and in high school, McClung was forced to drive a Jaguar every day to school. Jokes aside, McClung doesn't really have any magical storyline behind him, but the fact that he is so damn normal is almost a really interesting storyline in and of itself. That's how McClung got a lot of his core fan base in early 2017 and 2018. High school kids across the country saw a little bit of themselves in this normal-ass 6-foot kid, but then he would step onto the court and him and his 50-inch vertical would go out there and destroy teams. It was a beautiful contrast. But the thing is, viral ballers like him always come and go. Y'all remember Julian Newman? The whole world was telling us that this dude was next up. He was the guy. He's been on the high school team since before he was in his mother's stomach. But after his and many others' failure to live up to this kind of insane hype, the internet at large began to draw a line in the sand between real basketball stars and internet basketball stars. Every week, the internet has a new basketball star that goes viral, but how many of these guys actually end up dominating the NBA? None. Nada. And McClung was going down this same path. Despite scoring 64 points as a junior in a single game and averaging more than 30 points, 6 assists, and 3 steals per game over the course of his last 2 high school years, he was only a 3-star recruit coming out of his senior year at Gate City High. Thankfully, he secured an offer from Georgetown University, and this ensured that his basketball career would not end at high school, the same way it does for so many other internet ballers. Patrick Ewing, who was and still is the team's head coach, was actually in attendance for a game in McClung's senior high school season in which he dropped 47 points. So it's pretty fair to say that this team knew of Mac's potential from day one. McClung's college career was mediocre. He could score with ease, even against college-level competition, averaging almost 15 points a game in his 3 years in the NCAA. But his 2.2 assists per game as a scrawny 6-foot point guard concerned a lot of people. He no longer was going viral for his highlights, but he could, at the very least, keep up with the competition. By the time he declared for the 2021 NBA draft, he was a very polarizing figure. Nobody knew which direction his NBA career would go. And that brings us to present day. McClung did unfortunately go undrafted, but of all the teams, it was the stacked-ass Lakers that decided to give this kid another chance. And I hate to say it, but in his 2 Summer League appearances so far, McClung has given us that same level of inconsistency that we should all be used to with him at this point. After 3 long years of college. He's definitely skilled, and he does have a lot of really good moments. I mean, just take a look at this.
Feel like I'm on repeat here. It's that defense creating offense. You're able to get out in the open floor. You see a big man coming. All right, I'm going to slip up underneath here, finish on this.
I would even go as far to say that the positives totally have outweighed the negatives so far in the Summer League. His 8.5 points a game rank him at 20th in the league, which could be better, sure, but him just being in the general upper range of players in the Summer League is a pretty good sign that, you know, at the very least, at minimum in my opinion, he will have some sort of NBA career. Now, does that career last 5 games, or does it last maybe 5 years? Who knows? But I think there's at least something here. Now, with all that being said, this is far from the perfect player. There are times that McClung looks very out of place against this borderline NBA level competition. He's had a few bad turnovers, he can get in the way of the flow of his team's offense, and just generally, he does not possess the type of presence and leadership that a good point guard should. Now, I'm not demanding that he becomes a quote-unquote true point guard. Just kind of let things flow, run an offense, be a leader. I mean, the ball is in your hands. I think Mac McClung really lacks this ability. Sometimes when I see him play, it just all feels very amateur-y. Whenever I turn on my TV screen and watch McClung go out there and play, I can't resist but get constant flashbacks of Monta Ellis. Now, of course, these are two very different players. Ellis was never as athletic as McClung, nor is McClung quite as good as Ellis just yet, nor do I ever believe he will be. But I think he might struggle with the same dilemma that Monta did. Is he a point guard or a shooting guard? There is no good answer. He doesn't pass or play like a point guard, but he's too short to play the two. Similar to Monta Ellis, I genuinely do believe that Mac McClung, even against NBA players, can get buckets. But will he ever fit in? Will he ever find an identity? I don't think so. I think he's gonna be stuck in this middle ground where he probably will be forced to play point guard because of the height thing, but it will just never feel right. So, assuming that he will be forced to play point guard, the more I think about it, the more I wish that it was another team that gave McClung this chance. Even though he definitely makes this already super interesting new look Lakers team even more captivating, where does he fit? Tell me where. Really take a look at the Lakers roster. You have Russell Westbrook starting at the 1, and when he's not out there, or maybe even when he is, you still got LeBron, and he's gonna play some point regardless. And that's not even mentioning that this team also went out and signed Kendrick Nunn in free agency, so yeah, this is gonna be rough, assuming Mac McClung does make the team and is fighting for minutes. Assuming that this happens, he'll definitely be playing in specifically the biggest of garbage times, and that is it. Even if he makes the team, he plays a few games, gets his basketball reference page and all that good stuff, there is simply no way that this dude is consistently in the rotation racking up big minutes. Regardless of all this stuff, I'm really happy to see Mac McClung back in the spotlight and actually living up to the high school hype. In a different situation, I genuinely think that he could serve as a spark plug combo guard off the bench, but at least with a team like the Lakers, he might be able to quickly snag a championship, which, of course, as we all know, this is common sense, would make him a better player all time than James Harden. This dude is grounded, he got a good mindset, and I think his future will be bright.
Highlights showed a lot of great plays, but individually, I didn't think it was the greatest performance. I was missing all my shots, making bad decisions. It was such a not hard opponent that we kind of just stabbed ourselves in the foot. So.
Simply put, when we are talking about Mac McClung, there is just more growing that has to be done, and I believe he can do it. And with that being said, be sure to let me know about all your thoughts on Mac McClung's potential NBA career, and with that, stay safe out there.